Alright, so we're going to get started to help relieve back pain. And a lot of back pain is due to tight hamstrings, or it can just be not properly engaging muscles in the abdomen or the back. So a lot of these are restorative postures that you can do when you wake up, before you go to bed, on a lunch break. They're really made to do anywhere if you've got just a little bit of space. And you don't necessarily have to have a mat even. This can be done on carpet. So here we go. So we'll start in all fours. We're going to push back into child's pose. Now, if you have tight quads and can't sit all the way back on your heels, you can place a pillow here, you can roll up a blanket, whatever you need to feel comfortable, because the purpose of this pose as we go down and release forward is it releases the entire lower back. So this can get some relief. So we'll start with toes together and knees together. So there's no gap between the legs. That's really going to give a nice stretch to the lower back. So we'll take an inhale here, and on your exhale, you'll gently sit back on your heels or your blanket or pillow. You can crawl the fingertips forward, torso comes to thighs, and your forehead comes to gently rest on the ground. You can also allow your arms to relax and forearms rest on the ground. Breathing may feel a little constricted here, so if you need to open your legs a little bit, no problem. Just really focus on deep, slow breaths through the nose and deep, slow exhales through the nose. If you're congested, feel free to breathe through your mouth if that is all that is available. So you can relax the hands, no need to do any kind of active pressing, and just let your back broaden. You can give your forehead a little massage, roll it back and forth. That reminds us to relax the muscles in the face. And you'll start to feel little constriction through here and through here. But what it's really doing is opening up through the spine and helping all of this to relax, which is where a lot of us hold tension. So we'll be here for another 3 to 4 breaths. Again, as slow and deep as you can. I like to send breath down into the belly, but it is a bit hard being on the thighs, so just do your best. 2 more breaths. On your next exhale, we'll push back up onto all fours. So wrists will come under shoulders, knees will come under hips, and we'll do a little cat-cow here. So on our inhale, we're going to drop the belly, tailbone and crown of the head come to the ceiling. Inhale here. Pull forward through the hands, just a little micro movement to pull the chest forward so you really feel that constriction and stretch in the spine. Exhale, round like a Halloween cat, as if the top of your back is trying to touch the ceiling above you. Allow those shoulder blades to separate. Inhale. Cow pose, belly drops, head, tailbone lift. Actively press through the palms. If you have sensitive knees, you can always put a little blanket under them. Exhale, cat pose. Send the upper back up toward the ceiling. Drop and relax the head. No tension in the neck. And on your next inhale, come to a neutral spine. So belly is sucked in to the back. We're pressing the floor away so we're not sinking into our shoulder blades. We want to press up. Breathe here. And when I say press through the palms, really make contact with all 4 corners of the hand. What helps me with wrist pain is I will actually claw the floor, or you can press fingers flat, whatever works for you. So next we'll take this into down dog. Take your hands about 1 palm print in front of where you had your hands on the ground. We're going to tuck our toes And for down dog, we're gonna take an inhale here. Exhale, press back, hips go toward the ceiling and come up onto your toes. Now, a lot of us have really tight hamstrings, so we can't get our legs straight. So you take as much of a bend in the knees as you need, and you can stay on the tippy toes, or you can allow a little Achilles stretch here, which feels good, by just sending the heels towards the floor. They don't have to touch. Knees can stay bent. If you have a little more flexibility, feel free to lengthen and straighten the legs here. Again, it's okay if heels don't touch. Check in with your hands. Are you pressing the floor away like we were on all fours? Right? We're not sinking forward. We're actively pressing to keep shoulders away from the ears. Belly is engaged, so this would be a relaxed, soft belly. If I pull my abdomen up and toward my spine, it engages and not only protects the lower back, but allows it to lengthen. We want one straight line from crown of the head to the tailbone. And again, I can still achieve that with bent knees. We'll take 3 more breaths here. This is where you can do deep belly breathing. So inhale, send the belly out. Exhale, navel to spine, slowly draw it in. 2 more breaths. And you can shake the head yes, nod it no, that feels good. It helps release tension that we hold in the body that we may not be aware of. Take 1 more inhale here. And on your next exhale, bend your knees. And however you can get to the top of the mat or wherever you are, go for it. So you can take tiny little steps. If you can't fully fold your body, wherever your stopping point is, stop there. But we'll want to bring the feet as close as you can to the hands. And again, if you don't have the flexibility here, that's okay. Knees stay bent. Honestly, that's where a lot of us start. That's where I started. I could not take my hands past my shins when I started yoga. Flexibility just comes with time. So knees bent or straight if you have the flexibility in the hamstrings. And we're just going to fold our arms, hands rest in the elbow creases. Let the head drop, shake the head out, make sure all tension is released in the neck. And this is our ragdoll pose, forward fold. Again, this releases all tension in the low back. And it feels good too. You may feel a little bit of a head rush, that's okay. Just hang here, you can invite a little movement in. You can even play with straightening one leg and then the other. That will help invite some flexibility in over time. And anytime we stretch a muscle, do it on the exhale. We inhale, lengthen, exhale, stretch. So go ahead and drop hands to the floor. And we're going to do a slow roll up. 1 vertebrae at a time. Head comes up last. And we won't be up for too long, but make sure to come up nice and slow, especially if you feel a little lightheaded. Take 1 inhale here, deep through the nose. Exhale, sigh it out. Take our shoulders up toward our ears and draw them back down into the back. That'll help lengthen across collarbones because we're tight here too. Now we're going to come into squat pose next. If this is not accessible to you, you can stay in kind of a little squat, or you can come onto tiptoes, or you can just sit down on your butt. Whatever feels good. But if you're able to do squat, you can also sit on a block. If you don't have a block, you can also sit on a stack of books. This is, again, just to release the back here. So if you can come into squat, honestly, if the feet are wider, it's actually easier to come into it. And you can keep hands on floor for some stability. You don't have to take them up into prayer. But this would be the position to work towards. This is where you'll receive maximum benefit, but you're still getting benefit from all the others. So we'll take one more breath here, because this is quite a pinch on the hip flexors. And on your exhale, just gracefully or not, plop your butt down. And we're going to do a slow roll onto our back. So we'll start in bridge pose. So if possible, bring the feet in to where you can just brush the heels with your fingertips. With our shoulder blades, my shoulders naturally curve up a little bit because I was a chronic huncher when I was younger. So I like to kind of tuck my shoulder blades back under me. Palms actively press into the floor, and we're going to tilt the tailbone up so this gap here closes. So it's almost like the hip bones are pointing this way now to close that gap. And we're going to take an inhale here. Exhale, press down through the palms and the feet and send the hip bones up towards the ceiling. Sometimes it feels good to walk the shoulder blades under even a little more. If this is too much on the knees, you can lengthen your stance a little bit, but it does put a little more pressure on the glutes and thighs. So in our bridge pose, you're going to feel a lot of the weight in the back of the shoulders and the neck and the back of the skull. That's going to help decompress a lot of tension. What's really important in this pose is to keep our gaze straight up toward the ceiling. Do not look left and right. It will damage the neck or set it up for injury. So breathe here. This does fire up the glutes and the hammies. You can even take your hands or a block for restorative bridge. You can put it under your sacrum here. I like to take my hands and just kind of rest the top of my glutes into it. Just create a little 90-degree angle. Hello, little kitty. Just checking things out. And breathe. Again, deep belly breaths. On your next exhale, come up onto the tippy toes. Actively touch the floor. And again, we're going to roll down. Nice and slow, articulating the spine. And come back to neutral. Straighten the legs out. Now we'll do another little hamstring stretch. So, right knee comes in just to the outside of your torso. Again, if flexibility is not there today, you can take a strap or a belt around the arch of your foot, put the foot in and hold it, and just lengthen the leg to what you are capable of and hold it there and breathe. You should feel tension here, but not pain. So if you feel like, that's okay, I'm getting a stretch, stay there and breathe. If you feel any kind of pain, back off a little or bend the knee a little bit. So if you do have the flexibility, take your peace fingers, go in between your big toe and your middle toe, and we're going to take a deep breath in through the nose with the knee bent. Exhale, straighten the leg. And just pull into you to where you're like, okay, there it is. I feel that stretch. And again, lengthening this whole back leg is going to release all kinds of tension in the low back. And you just hang out here. And again, active stretching. You can inhale, micro bend in the knee. Exhale, lengthen, or even pull in a little closer to you. And this you can stay in for 5, 10 breaths, 30 seconds, wherever you're at, wherever you feel like you've gotten a good stretch. So we'll take one more breath here. Exhale, release. Let the leg go out long, and we'll repeat with the left leg. Pull the knee in toward the side of the torso. And again, your strap or your peace fingers. Inhale, bent leg. Exhale, straighten. And for a lot of us, we've got one side of the body that's more flexible and one that's tighter. My left is tighter. So you'll see that I still kind of keep a micro bend in this knee. And just because that flexibility has not opened there quite yet. And breathe. Always try to keep the deep belly breathing, even with the abdomen engaged. And again, inhale, slight micro bend in the leg. Exhale, straighten a little more. Do we have another visitor? Hi, Kitty. Yes. We'll take 2 more breaths here. Inhale through the nose. Exhale, release. So send the leg back down to the ground. We've got 2 more poses here. So we're going to take a spinal twist. So you can bend the knees, bring them in toward the torso. Arms can be out to a T. If you don't have the room, you can do cactus arms where you just bend at the elbow for a 90-degree angle. Shift your hips to the right. Knees into the chest, and on an exhale, gently let them lower to this side. Now you may get a few pops in the spine like I just did. Most important thing is make sure your right shoulder remains in contact with the ground. If it lifts as you turn, just back off on your knees a little bit. And if it's uncomfortable to hold them here, again, you can place a pillow underneath, a block, whatever you need to relax deepest into the stretch where your body's at that day. And we'll send our inhale into the right side of the rib cage. Exhale, visualize your body twisting a bit more. It's almost as if we're wringing out the torso. And if it's comfortable, you can shift your gaze to the right. For me, it's not comfortable on the neck, so I look at the ceiling. And close your eyes, wherever you're at. 2 more breaths here. Take 1 more inhale. Exhale, bring the feet back to the ground, knees bent, hips shift over to the left now. Knees come into the torso, feet off the ground. Take an inhale here. Exhale, knees gently fall to the right. And again, shoulder, back of the shoulder remains in contact with the ground. If it lifted, just back off a little on your twist. Lift your legs a bit. Once you find a comfortable position, settle in. Scan areas of the body where you feel that you're clenching and invite breath there to help relax those muscles. Send breath deep into the left side of the rib cage. Exhale as if your torso's wringing all the toxins out. 2 more breaths. Last inhale here. Exhale, bring the feet back to the ground, knees come up toward the ceiling, and shift the hips back to center. Our final pose is either going to be shoulder stand, and I'll show you what that is real quick. If this is inaccessible at the moment, this is actually plow pose. If shoulder stand is inaccessible, I want you to come up to seated, find a wall, or if you're near one, great. Shift your hips to where they're right up against the wall, or there can be a little space in between, either or. And you're going to, it's like not the prettiest, but you're gonna kind of shimmy on your elbows and send your legs and feet up the wall. So you're in an L shape. If the legs are too tight for this, you can always bend the knees or push yourself back a bit from the wall. So you're in a slight V. And you can just chill here. You can let the feet fall out. You can flex, point for a little calf stretch. Let the arms relax down by the side. Shoulder blades are tucked in. Back of the neck is long. And relax here for at least 10 breaths. So you can stay here, or if you have a bit more flexibility in the spine, try shoulder stands. So we'll start in a little crunch here, arms out long. Slowly on an exhale, lay yourself down. Make sure nothing's behind you. And we're gonna come to plow pose first. So legs will be straight up, toes point toward the ceiling. Take an inhale here. Exhale, push the ground, lift the hips. You can bend the knees if you need to. Push them up and over. If your feet do not touch the floor, that's okay. You can just keep knees bent. Bend the elbows so hands are at a 90-degree angle. Work the elbows in so they're not splayed out wide, because this is going to be your base support. Hands are wide, fingertips spread along the back and the sacrum. And we're going to slowly straighten the legs. Now, just like in bridge pose, gaze remains straight up above. Don't turn the neck in this one, or the head. And it's actively pulling the abdomen in and pressing the hips to the wall behind you. Most of the pressure should be on the backs of your shoulders, not the back of your head. If you need to keep knees bent, that's okay. It takes a little bit of weight off and a little bit of that balance out. But whether you are on the wall or you are in shoulder stand, you will hold for 10 breaths. If that's too much to start with, hold for 5, 3 even, whatever your body needs. You can also vary this. You can come down into plow if that feels good. That's also a great release for the back. Knees can stay bent. I like to bring my hands to my feet. You don't have to. You can keep them out long behind you. This puts a lot of pressure on the tops of my shoulders, which feels really good. You can bring knees to the forehead. You can bend them. There's a lot you can play with here. But keep breathing wherever you're at. And if you ever need to come out of a pose because your breath gets too far ahead or it gets too uncomfortable, do so. Just take a break, gather your breath again, and come back into it. So we'll take one more breath here. Slowly roll out. Slow as you go. It's okay if you roll out too quick too. We'll take feet to the floor. You can take a full body stretch. We just had a lot of weight on the shoulders and the neck. I lied, there's one more pose. We'll come up into fish pose. If you did shoulder stand, come up into fish pose. Knees can be bent, they can be straight. Take the palms and the elbows, press up, chin into chest, as if you're doing a little crunch. Work the elbows back so you're in a 90-degree angle. You can work the fingertips under the butt. Press the chest toward the ceiling, shoulders roll back and down, and gently allow your head to rest between your trap muscles. You'll feel a little cushion back there, and this will allow the neck to release all the pressure that we just put on it with shoulder stand. And you can just have this for a few breaths, doesn't have to be long. When you're ready, gently, slowly tuck the chin to chest and push yourself up to seated. To relieve back pain at any point of your day. Namaste.